All right, good morning. We're going to go ahead and jump in and get started. We have several people that need to leave at 8 o'clock for homecoming alumni breakfast, other meetings and so forth. So we'll get started and jump in. A couple announcements before we really talk about what the focus of today's meeting is about. So let me just a couple of reminders. Yesterday we talked about in the Dean's meeting, the code on the doors is going to change. You're going to get an email about that code changing. We change it every year. It does tie into our Bible verse, so that code will come out. And I'm afraid I'll remember it wrong if I try to tell you what it is right now. But you'll hear about that. We'll have a week where both codes work, and then they'll turn the old code off. So that's coming out. Also a reminder to take the SAIS survey. I got an email yesterday saying it may have gone to your spam filter. It probably did actually go into your FRA spam area and take that survey when you get a chance. There may be a couple questions. I think John Murray emailed yesterday to clarify. At the end, they threw in a few extra questions that might make you feel like, did I just take the student survey or did they think I'm a student? Faculty and students got some questions thrown in at the end that SAIS added in for just a little bit of extra evidence collection. So you as long as you click that you're taking it for faculty, that's what you're taking it as. Those questions are just thrown in there. So this is somebody a minute ago said, is this faculty meeting? Does that mean we have reading buddies this week? No, this is not faculty meeting. This is a vertical team meeting day, although we're not in vertical teams, and you'll understand why in just a minute. Next week is faculty meeting, which means next week is a reading buddy week. Right, Shannon? Okay. All right. Questions about any announcements like that before we get started? Friday, we've got the schedule for enrichments. We need to be out on the sidewalk by 1:25 as the parade will start at 1:30, and then we'll go over to the gym for the pep rally. We will be dismissed from the pep rally. I think the original schedule says we'll be dismissed around 2:20, 2:25 to come back over, and then we'll head out for dismissal. The Frayer will begin right after school this year for the first time. They've really begun it right after we get done at 2:45. So parents don't have to leave and come back if they don't want to. They can stay for that. Any questions about Friday? I don't know when t-shirts will be here. In the past, we got them Thursday afternoon. One year we got them overnight, early Friday morning. So it may be that you just tell your kids, show up in a regular shirt and then change into your homecoming t-shirt. I know pre-K is already planning on doing that because it's Blue Day for them, and we'll be doing our first color song at chapel. The streak begins, so looking forward to that. But homecoming t-shirts are white, so that's why they have to wear something blue before they change into their homecoming t-shirts. Okay, so jumping into why we're in here together this morning. We're really kind of looking at Apple. I was reading yesterday has released for their operating system version 10. So it's 1.0 and 2.0 and 3.0. Now they're up to version 10. We're not quite that far in creating new versions of our PD, Power PD, but we're probably on version 3.0, I would think, at this point. But I really appreciate the feedback and the conversations that we've been able to have with each other. And then Bridget and I have been able to take to Dr. Fain, and she's listened with interest and concern to say, wait a minute, I want to make it right. I want to make sure that everybody has a clear picture, because we've explained to her that we haven't really felt that way. And so she reached out to me over the weekend and really wanted to talk about, are we putting the cart before the horse? And Bridget and I have talked, and Dr. Fain and I will talk later today, and we might be trying to put the cart before the horse. As Bridget and I were talking yesterday, the old saying of trying to fit a square peg into a round hole, it may be apropos here. And so it really got me to thinking, and Bridget and I were thinking about let's look at this, and let's see that we're doing the things in the right order. We have heard you say, gosh, I feel like I need the curriculum, and then I can do these things she's asking us to do. Because each grade level may be at a different place using a different curriculum for writing instruction. We're asking enrichment teachers to do something that they don't normally do in terms of having writing in their classrooms. We've got pre-K who's out there on a limb without really having a curriculum, but we've got expectations for them and evidence to bring in. So in looking at all of that, it also got me thinking about, there's a pretty famous leadership guru named Simon Sinek. And Simon Sinek wrote a book called Start With Why. And it really got me thinking, we need to go back and probably start with why in what we're asking folks to do. And I'm not talking about the writing instruction curriculum. I think that's an easy why. I think we can all probably agree on the writing instruction curriculum. We need to have a good writing curriculum across our grade levels. But one of the things Dr. Fain's been asking us to think about and work on is becoming a reflective community. And we've talked about getting a video in there and then videoing yourself and sending it to me, and oh my gosh, that's scary. Okay, so then we changed it and we said, okay, you don't have to video yourself, but you could video yourself or invite a friend in, a colleague in, to observe you, to give feedback. And you get to choose who that is, and you get to choose the lesson that you teach, and you get to choose the format, whether it's in person or video. And I think that felt better to you, but still, I want to make sure we're still not trying to fit that square peg into that round hole. So this thinking about Simon Sinek and Start With Why. Yesterday in our dean's meeting, Mr. Casey made a comment, and he referenced this book actually. And it's something that you all are very familiar with, because last Wednesday, when we were in the whole academy meeting, and when Sean talked about a couple of things, especially ceiling tiles with water stains on them, he said, I think I probably approached that a little bit wrong and probably freaked a few people out. I've heard that from you all. I think some of you are like, well, first of all, was he talking about me? No? Okay, good.
Where are the cameras?
Where are the cameras? Like the water fountain thing. Thirdly, oh my gosh, do I need to look everywhere now and report everything that I see? And Sean said yesterday, he said, I think I needed to go back and start with why. He said, and I love this that he said yesterday, I want this building, these facilities to reflect the great things that are happening here. And when we see things like water spots on ceiling tiles and molding peeling off at the bottom of the wall, and door stoppers that never stay in the floor outside of our classrooms, and water leaks in our art room last night. He said, those are the things that drive me crazy, that when people come visit, I'm afraid they're gonna walk out with that and not realize the great things that are happening here. So he said, I should have started with why that's important. And it's not about being picky about water spots on ceiling tiles or picking up micro trash. It's about making sure that he knows what kind of great stuff happens here and wants everything that people can visually see to reflect that. So he said, I don't know if he's gonna ever come back around to that, but I wanted to share that with you because he expressed it to us yesterday, and it was really very apropos to what we're talking about today. When we think about this reflective teaching practice that Dr. Fain has talked about, and whether it's watching somebody teach or videoing somebody, it's really all part of a professional learning community, PLC. You may have heard that phrase, PLC. And we really haven't addressed it that much. And the reason, and I take full responsibility for that, because it really is something we ought to be doing. You all are a great group of teachers, but we haven't addressed it because every year we've been enthralled and involved with, in the middle of, creating and adopting and implementing a whole new curriculum, whether it was math last year, the science the year before that, and Daily 5 the year before that, and writing this year. There's no way I was going to try to, put something else on top of that. And I hope you can appreciate that, but at the same time, we really ought to continue to think about how can we be more reflective in our practice, and how can we be more collaborative in our practice. And it's not that, don't take that to mean that I'm saying you're not being collaborative, but I want to go through a little presentation today to let you see how we could be doing things a little bit differently, but we have to start with why. When you start with why, this is Simon Sinek, he calls this the golden circle. When you start with why, you're starting with people's motivation. Why do I need to do this? Why are we doing something? And then you work out through the process, which is the how, and eventually get to the product, which is the what. And I'm afraid where we started with Jeannie was somewhere between the how and the what. Or we were thinking what, but she was trying to put the why in, the how in, and I'm not sure we ever really started with why, especially when it comes to being a collaborative professional community, that reflective practitioner. So why is going to be important that we think about starting there. If I put this up on the screen, looking at this picture, and the words reflective teaching practice, what does that picture put in your minds? Anybody? What does that tell you? What do you think of?
Freedom.
Freedom. Interesting comment. All right. What else?
Out of the box.
Out of the box.
Or the bowl.
Or the bowl.
I don't think he's going to
I don't think Does he have enough propulsion? Is he going to fall short? Literally, what's a saying that we hear all the time? This is a fish out of water. Could you feel like a fish out of water? What is this fish leaving behind? Leaving behind friends, safety, strength in numbers. Yeah. What he knows, what she knows. If I put it like this, similar picture, slightly different, reflective teaching practice. Now what do you think? Besides fish out of water, but now what's happening?
Motivated.
Motivated.
Got support.
Got coming to support. I'm coming in where some other friends may be. Jessica's still not sure if he has the right propulsion to get there, but
Don't worry about it.
worried about it. But there's somebody waiting on the other side, right?
That one down there is praying hard.
Got it looking up, like, oh, I see you. Yeah, you're going to make it. I believe you. So when we think about reflective teaching practice, literally it can feel like a fish out of water. I get it. I'm videotaping myself right now. I'm going to videotape myself this weekend when I'm teaching my college students. It is a little weird. I get it. But as we think about reflective teaching practice and how to make ourselves better, sometimes we do have to take a leap of faith. We do have to worry if we're going to make it. But we also should realize there might be people there waiting for us, encouraging us on. Okay? So continuing to think about why this is an important aspect. I realize you can't read all the text that's up there. So reflective teaching practice here in the middle, feedback, reflection, study, and practice with the intent of self-awareness, action, change, development, and improvement. And there's really 4 areas that this can be impacted. In scholarship, in your own practices, beliefs, knowledge, that can be impacted. You as a teacher, what about your beliefs as a teacher? What did you experience and think that worked, think that didn't work? Self-reflection. Your work with students, that's going to be impacted by this because you can say, oh, now I realize I only call on this half of the room, or I ignore certain kids, or I thought I said something but I didn't really say it. And then finally, work with peers and colleagues will be impacted as well because it opens up that collaboration, that collaborative nature. This is really the heart of what a true PLC is all about, but it's really this one focused on reflective teaching practice. So let me show you just a few slides. I took this off the internet and it's actually from England, and I know that because there's one word that is spelled, I think recognized is spelled with an S instead of an E. But I'm just going to show you a few slides that continue to really think about the starting with why we would do this. This is a slideshow. It's on a website called Slide Player that a lot of people will take a PowerPoint they create and put it out, and it's got a web address that you can have other people's slideshows. Reflective practice, what is it? Ongoing dynamic process of thinking honestly, deeply, and critically about all aspects of professional practice with children and families. It can occur spontaneously, but also is an essential planned reflection time. Reflective practice leads to action. As I have said many times, even as we've gone through version 1.0, 2.0, 3.0, I have always said this process this year with our Power PD is more than just reading about best practices in writing instruction. It's about taking action. And really the reflective piece is about the action that we're going to take. Use it to recognize and continue good practices. Change and improve what's not working well, challenge practices that are taken for granted, monitor all aspects of practice on an ongoing basis, and know when to find more information or support from others. This is just I know you can't read those, a diagram that really is a cycle. starts with action. You act or you do. You review, you collect information, you question and analyze.